let's take a look at the theory behind disconnection and why Scientologists feel so strongly about it. The first hints of Hubbard's inclination to enforce disconnection go all the way back to 1950 in Dianetics, the Modern Science of Mental Health. He uses the term restimulated to describe how earlier emotional trauma can be reactivated in the present, like if a person had an accident on a bicycle and then later tended to avoid riding bicycles because of that. There's a bit more to it, but I'm talking about disconnection, not Hubbard's theories about how the mind works. Hubbard writes, "Making a child stay in a home where he is restimulated is most certainly inhibitive, not only of his happiness, but of his mental and physical development. A child should have many more rights about such things, more places to go." Hubbard then goes on for pages detailing how parents can be the single most harmful influence on their child. He actually states that even if the parents are kind and are treating the child well, that the child should still be taken away from the parents if they are the source of the child's mental restimulation. But Hubbard doesn't provide any answers as to where a restimulated child is supposed to go, nor does he say anything about what kind of life the devastated parents would have after their child has been forcibly taken from them. He also suggested that if your spouse, relative, or a friend disagrees with you getting Dianetics counseling, that the reason for it is likely because they have some vested interest in you staying ill or mentally deficient, and that you should remove yourself from the environment where they are. He describes how such people are afraid of you remembering all the awful things they did to you in the past, such as your mother attempting to abort you before you were even born. Now, I'm not saying that such things never happened. I'm sure there are such cases. But what about those people who don't want you to do Dianetics because they actually do care about your well-being and don't want to see you get involved in some pseudo-scientific psychotherapy that has no actual scientific evidence behind its claims? If you want to continue with Dianetics counseling, the price you'll pay could be very high. Enforced disconnection as church policy came into being in 1965. Scientologists have compared it to the Catholic practice of excommunication, but that's not really accurate, since an excommunicated member is still free to see his Catholic family members and even still to go to Catholic services. What it actually compares to is called shunning, where a church member is expelled and no other church members are permitted to speak with or associate with the shunned member forevermore. In terms of religious practice, shunning is an archaic, uncommon practice, but it's not unique to Scientology. While it's a weird and creepy thing for any religion to do, Scientology actually takes it to a level unparalleled by any other religion, except perhaps some fundamentalist Amish groups. The policy works like this. If Joe the Scientologist is connected to a suppressive person, an SP, no matter who that SP is, then Joe is labeled a potential trouble source, PTS. He is denied any further Scientology services until he handles or disconnects from the SP. If Joe wants to continue to be connected with the SP, like say the SP is Joe's mother, then Joe has to somehow get the SP to recant and stop doing whatever he or she is doing that the church considers objectionable, such as posting anti-Scientology statements online or telling Joe how bad Scientology is, etc. The actual policy states, any PTS who fails to either handle or disconnect from the SP who is making him or her a PTS is, by failing to do so, guilty of a suppressive act. So if Joe doesn't disconnect, he is also declared a suppressive person. That's the simplicity of the policy. What's so interesting is that up until very recently, Scientology media representatives have vehemently and repeatedly denied that its policies require enforced disconnection. Here is the former international Scientology spokesman, Tommy Davis, on CNN in May 2008.
Anything that's characterized as disconnection or this kind of thing, it's just not true. There isn't any such policy that in the church that's dictating who people should or should not be in communication with. You know, it just doesn't happen.
Less than 1 year later, in February 2009, here is Tommy Davis behind closed doors, talking to actor Larry Anderson, who was leaving Scientology and wanted his money back. Tommy tells him,
and obviously there's, you know, ramifications of doing, you know, what you're saying, you know, which is expulsion from the church, and so, you know, you'd no longer be associating with Scientologists and things like that. And I don't know.
Clarifying that, because you said that
you can talk to anybody you want to.
Yeah.
You can talk to anybody you want to.
To your point, though, you said that I can no longer have association with Scientologists.
Well, you wouldn't, for the fact that it's church policy when someone takes repayment, they're expelled from the church.
Here is Tommy Davis again in December 2009, talking this time to Shane Clark, a former Scientologist who at the time of the recording was employed by Mark Headley, who the church called a suppressive person. Tommy makes it clear here that the policies on suppressive persons and disconnection are here to stay forever.
There's a reason groups do this. It's integral to their survival. Groups who don't do it get destroyed. And it's just been proven over and over and over again in Scientology's 58-year history that to whatever degree SPs scream about how horrible it is, bottom line, it is what works, it is what safeguards the church, and by virtue of the fact that people who are connected to suppressives do roller coaster, cannot make gains, and are called potential sources of trouble or sources of trouble for a reason based on historical precedents, it isn't a policy that is going to change tomorrow, next week, next month, or ever.
Because of all the internet and media exposure about the church's lies on this subject, they were forced to admit to the fact that disconnection exists in church policy. The official statement on the church's website purposefully associates disconnection with how criminals are dealt with. It says, it is much like trying to deal with a criminal. If he will not handle, the society resorts to the only other solution. It disconnects the criminal from the society. The website goes on to cleverly say there is no policy in Scientology that requires church members to disconnect from anyone, let alone family and friends who simply have different beliefs. It says that you will be declared suppressive for failure to handle or disavow and disconnect from a person demonstrably guilty of suppressive acts. The whole thing hinges on who the church calls suppressive. And as I've already covered in previous parts of this video series, the church can and will declare people for anything they want to, especially for openly disagreeing with the church's leaders or its policies. There is no such thing as freedom of speech or freedom of thought in Scientology. If you don't toe the line, you are very forcefully kicked out.